most courses will expect a level 3 qualification. Then we're getting into the level 4 territory, the bit that allows us to actually become qualified as a counsellor and work with clients. That's the question that I get asked a lot. Kind of like, but will this qualification mean that I can work with clients? And it's a really good question to ask, because I think over the recent years there's been courses that have developed that will give you the knowledge, but then don't give you the the extra placement work that means that you've got that qualification that says I can do this. So do you want to talk about why we did it? That feels like a good place to start when there's other level 4s out there.
So I know for me it was, again, similar like to what's inspired me to do the prerequisite courses. It was my own experience of level 4 training. And once I qualified, although I had a lot of theory and I did have skills practice, I felt like there was gaps in my knowledge and my learning and things that just felt really obvious that nobody talked about. It became really obvious, like, I'd speak to other, recently qualified counsellors and it'd be like, no, we didn't cover that on our course either. And I was like, oh, wonder why we didn't do that. That's really interesting. And for me, I wanted to be able to offer a course that not only filled the gaps of learning, but absolutely allowed therapists to learn in a different way. So create an environment that was inclusive, anti-oppressive, which was really important, because some of the topics are you can be really tough topics, complex topics, and wanted to create a learning environment that felt safe to explore those without worry of judgment or critique, really, as well, which can often sometimes come up on therapy courses. That was my kind of road into it, and it was like, I got this idea. What do you think about this? What about you?
And similar to you, kind of, I know that you can't fit absolutely every aspect of of a profession into a course. That's not the expectation. I loved the course that I did, but I wanted to offer the course that I wanted. So some elements of what I wish I'd also had, not that the course that I had wasn't good enough, because it really was. So, but kind of, what else could we do?
I agree with you. And I think I felt this sometimes from my tutors, that they wanted to get more depth and they wanted to have those bigger conversations, but the time, just didn't have the time to do it. And again, that comes to the group sizes as well, potentially, just not just topic. But it was more a case of I got to the end and was like, oh, that's really interesting. Why haven't I covered that? And I always knew that I wanted somewhere to teach level 4. I knew that early on. I just didn't know what that would look like. I'm just so, honoured and amazed that I've had the opportunity to develop and grow that into something that's so organic. It's like, that it feels rare. It feels rare as a teacher to be able to do that.
Thank you. Okay. So should we talk about like what the level 4 involves then? Because it is a chunky piece of work, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is chunky. Like, which bit do I start with? So I think level 4s generally are designed to get you to qualification. I think the difference, or maybe the difference how we approach the actual training, again, is like that bottom-up learning. So I've often said to you, Sam, haven't I said, I feel like this course has developed into a skills, ethics and personal development led course, because that's been embedded too, with theory woven throughout and philosophy woven throughout, rather than a philosophy theory led course with kind of PD woven through and skills woven through. So it is a very hands-on course. There's lots of skills work on our course and lots of personal development. But I think we are unique in the fact that sometimes we can tailor. So we've got the SCOPED kind of curriculum that we're working to for column A, which we can explain a little bit more in interviews or in conversations what that means. So you're reaching this, like you say, quality kite mark. At the end of it, say, yes, I have achieved X, Y, and Z by the membership bodies, to be able to achieve membership and qualification. But I think having smaller groups and being such an independent provider, we've got that opportunity to work the curriculum for the group, and that's just such a unique thing. So as long we will get it covered, but we will go with that group interest sometimes as well, and that the way the group's learning, and I think is quite rare as well.
Yeah, I think that's something that I particularly love about the course. Is we have that room for the emergent learning, and discovery learning. So I enjoy learning where I can actually say, but what about this? And it's like, because I'm asking it at that time, it's relevant at that time, at least in some capacity. And it's rather than being told like, oh yeah, we'll cover that down the road, somebody saying like, okay, well, let's have a look at that, considering where you are in your journey at the moment. When you come back to it, you might consider this differently. What about in terms of, again, I'm thinking about the questions that I get asked. So yes, there's studying, and I've got to turn up to a classroom to do the studying, but what else do I need to do?
So you've got your 5 hours with us once a week over an academic year, and then outside of that we've got community days. So you're looking at approximately 9 community days over the course. They usually look like a Saturday, sometimes a Sunday. There's an expectation of attendance within that. So and they tend to look like run morning till early evening. Each one is presented in a slightly different way. It's an opportunity to build up networking, communities. It's also an opportunity to explore group supervision and peer supervision, and opportunities to look at personal development work and real creative activities, and build the time within your cohort as well. And then outside of that, there is an expectation that you will do some self-directed learning, and we support with that, as in, this is what we would like you to have a look at. This is probably the opportunity to have a look at prior to next week, etc., because that will help you with the foundation of what we're going to be discussing. And then you've got the very practical side of placement. So you've got your 100 hours placement. So when you come into the course, the first half a year, I would say, is all working towards looking at getting that fitness to practice, which is the training stamp to say, yes, you can go out on placement. So ideally, we're looking to aim for an October to winter start of that placement. There's 100 hours to be covered over the course. There's also an expectation to attend clinical supervision while you are in placement. You can start sooner should you wish. And there's also an expectation as well that you will experience what it's like to be a client in the room and attend 10 hours of personal therapy as well. And a lot of those last few bits aren't different to any other course that you would go on. All those expectations are exactly the same. I guess the difference with our course potentially is we give maybe autonomy where others aren't able to, in relation to your clinical supervisor. You get choice in that. You're not given a list and told you have to do this, meet this clinical supervisor, etc. So again, it's that benefit from my perspective of us being able to support our future qualified counsellor and then being able to explore what's right for them in that supervisory relationship. And that feels really good that we can support that as well.
Yeah, we'll talk quite a lot, won't we, about different settings. So this might be what it's like to work in the third sector. This might be what it's like to work in private practice. How would that differ from a policies and procedures and a safeguarding perspective? Bringing in other experiences into the room. So I know you talk about yours and I talk about mine, but we also invite other people in, don't we, sometimes to kind of add their perspective, because it might be more in their wheelhouse than ours. That we almost reach a process, don't we, as learners? I'm conscious that I'm flipping back into my learner head now. Kind of that working out what I don't want is just as important as working out what I do want. So I learned through my studies that I didn't particularly have an inkling to work toward work in the NHS. So that automatically kind of like filtered out some of the knowledge so that I could focus on things that I felt were more valuable to me at the time.
A lot of our course is geared around, even though we're in a group, we are developing those individuals, as you often put, Sam, and I love the phrase that you use, to be able to stand in your own practice. And that's ultimately what we're hoping to support people with, isn't it? At the end of it, whatever that practice looked like, whether that, I don't mean necessarily standing in your own private practice, it's just your practice as the application of being a counsellor, really.
Yeah, to know that you are ethical and you understand why you're there, and your own philosophy about being there. Yeah, absolutely. So, and the level 4 is always 2 years, isn't it? Or that qualifying period is always 2 years. I've not heard of that being any different anywhere you go. Have you?
Me neither. Not at the moment, no.
On top of the course costs, there are the extra costs, aren't there, of clinical supervision and personal counselling and so on. And I think part of why I wanted to do this is to make that transparent, you know. So again, it's that informed consent. Do I know what I'm getting into? Is now the right time for me? Have I got the time? Have I got the finances? Have I got the support network underneath me? Have I got the emotional and mental capacity to do what is required at the moment? Because if now's not the right time, give it 12 months and it may well be.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you think we have missed in terms of?
I get asked is about assessing. So because I think we're not, because we're not a university in that respect, I sometimes get asked, like, am I still doing essays? What does that look like? And what's the academic expectation? And I think particularly because of the way that we teach, sometimes we attract learners that don't necessarily particularly want to be in that academic setting. And then that throws up concerns about, I can't write an essay and I don't know what that looks like, etc. But usually at level 3 there's been a primer for that, so you've got used to submitting some type of academic work. What I would say is, I think what another unique point of our courses from our assessment is that yes, there are assignments. Yes, they can be submitted written or verbal. We will look at recorded verbal assignments because sometimes that works better for people. Yes, there is an expectation for you to kind of back that up with some research. So there will be some wider reading expectations from that. But we're not asking people to have PowerPoint skills. We're not looking for, presentations with us. Looks like vision boarding and painting. So it looks very, very different. And that's sometimes what I get asked, like, what are the expectations in the assignments? Because again, people go to that very school A-level or GCSE, that's what I had to do. And yes, of course, it's important that we're assessing clearly, but our assessment is going on continuously all the time, and there's opportunity for feedback all the time, and we really encourage open dialogue, don't we, Sam? So it's not just about what essay you turn out, it's about who are you in that assignment, and can we hear your voice in that, and can we see that developing practitioner coming through. And also it's really important that we've got an eye collaboratively on you looking after yourself in that as well. So student wellbeing is a high priority for us too.
Thank you for mentioning that, because that was another important part of the course for me. I didn't consider myself very good at school. I was not an actual academic in any way, shape or form, and it was actually only by doing higher education when I turned 28, actually, I went back to college, and I was fortunate enough to be taught by somebody who taught me how I learned. And it was like, oh, okay, so it's not that I'm thick, it's not that I can't do this. I didn't know what the secret was. I didn't have the key to the door. So that's what got me into learning and development, and that's what I've carried on through my profession since. But it was absolutely crucial that was included, and I think it's really making a difference as to who this course is, who's interested in this course, isn't it?
Yes, it is, definitely.